Hi everyone, it's Nicole here today with a Felt Bear Hugs Valentine's project to share with you. Last holiday season, my felt bear ornaments were really popular and I've had many requests to share more ideas with the Essentials by Ellen Hudson Bear Hugs dies. And what better opportunity than Valentine's Day? I am pairing these cuties with the Candy Hearts dies from Lawn Fawn. I'm going to kind of take you through all of the pieces and then we're going to put the ornaments together. We are starting with the Essentials by Ellen Bear Hugs dies. We're using the bear, we're using the arms, and we're using the nose. The gift package and eyes we're not going to use, and we're not going to use the heart. The reason we're not using the heart, it's perfectly fine and you could totally use that, but I absolutely love the Lawn Fawn Candy Hearts, part of the new release for the Valentine's season this 2019, and they were perfectly sized for the bears to hold in their arms. So the options here are Hugs, Smile, Cutie, XOXO, and I Love You. We are using I Love You, XOXO, and Hugs. I only did 3 today, but you could definitely use any of these that you like. There's the solid heart and then the die cut heart. Now, one of my favorite things to do with these felt bears is to embellish and accessorize. So we're going to add accessories with a put a bow on it from Lawn Fawn little bow. There are actually many sets from Lawn Fawn that have a bow in them. In fact, the tiny gift box has a great one that you could use as well. This one's just a tiny bit not as bulky, and I felt like it fit the head better. If you don't want to make your bears girls, go ahead and make it a bow tie instead. Now those little teeny tiny hearts, those are actually from the Candy Hearts I Love You. I'm going to talk a little bit about those as I'm putting my project together. And then this little heart that I'm going to put that little heart on is actually from the Tiny Gift Box Raccoon and Fox add-on from Lawn Fawn. Any heart will work as long as your little heart, whatever hearts you want to use, really. Just look through the dies that you have and make that work if you want to. I wanted to layer the hearts because I love adding a little embellishment on the back end, the back side of my bears. I do this with many critters, but I did do this with my felt bears at Christmas time. I had a little heart on the bum. I think it's a cute little finishing touch, especially when the back of your critter doesn't really have anything on them. We're going to start by stitching the face. To do this, I am taking black embroidery floss. I actually use all 6 strands. If you do not want your eyes and mouth to be maybe as thick, you can definitely use fewer strands if you want to. It's going to make beading your needle a lot easier. But I like all 6 strands. I like the eyes to be prominent. You might notice in the Bear Hugs dies, there are little teeny tiny eyes that you could die cut and glue in place. For me, those are just too small to cut from felt and put together. So I don't use those. I like stitching my own by creating a French knot. So let's zoom in a little bit. I knot my thread, come in from the back side, wrap it around my needle, and then go back through the same hole. So let's come in from the back side again, and you might have to work it through a little bit. Twist it around your needle, pull it nice and tight, and then go ahead and push it right back through that same hole, being careful that you don't pull so hard that you pull your thread through the felt. This is going to give you perfect little French knots that add great eyes for your critters. If you are not comfortable doing these kind of stitches, you could always die cut felt. You could use stickers, you could use gemstones, you can use a multitude of things. You definitely don't have to stitch their faces on if you don't want to. I also like to stitch a little mouth. That does not have to be added either. It's just something that I like to do for my bears. I think it gives them a lot of personality. Faces are something that are always important to me no matter what project I'm creating. I always look for a way to really make the face shine. Now, something a little different from my holiday bears, we're going to add little hearts. We're going to add little pink cheeks. If you don't want to add hearts, there are so many little cheek dies from Lawn Fawn for different critters, whether it's their critter huggers, whether it's their tiny gift box critters. You can add little like oval cheeks, die cut felt cheeks to your critters if you want to. Because this was a Valentine's project, I thought the little hearts would be cute. What prompted this, the I love you heart has a heart in the greeting from that candy heart that I showed at the beginning of the video that I die cut for these ornaments. Well, that little leftover piece, I thought, well, wouldn't that be fun to add to something? And it kind of fell on the bear's face and on the cheek, and I thought, wouldn't that be cute to give the bear's little pink cheeks with hearts? And that's what prompted this. Now, did I die cut 6, and actually more than that, 9 hearts to get those little hearts for the cheeks and for the little back sides? No. I did run that die through that many times, but what it did was I used tiny little scraps. I did not use a big enough piece to die cut that whole heart shape. I didn't need 9 I love you hearts lying around. So I always have a little scrap bin of felt. Those little pieces from die cutting the bigger pieces that won't really die cut anything substantial, but they are big enough for a teeny tiny little heart. So I would just take those little scraps and run them through, and it was a fantastic way to use up those pieces. I have stitched on all 3 faces, and I am hot gluing the nose and the cheeks in place. You could use another glue if you want. Hot glue is my favorite. It can be messy. It does have little strings, whatever, but it dries fast. The reason I always choose hot glue, especially for video production of a project, is simply because it makes putting together something like this so easy. Where the nose and the little cheek pieces are so teeny tiny, I don't want to worry about stitching those on. It would probably be kind of a hassle. Same with the little hearts on the back sides. I layered these and glued those down. So cute. So we got a little front and a back for each. I really did these assembly line style. As you can see, I did all of my die cutting. I stacked all the pieces that went with each together, and I just simply moved along each bear, finishing them up. We've got faces, we've got back sides, and we're really ready now to kind of start putting it all together. What we need to start with is the heart the bear is holding. And I'm going to tell you that I fiddled with this first one many times. I tried stitching it onto my bear. It was too many layers to go through. I just didn't feel like my stitches looked as nice. So what I ended up doing was hot gluing just kind of around the words, not around the edge because it's very hard to stitch through hot glue. I stitched it just kind of in the center of the heart to glue them together and hold the words in place. And then I layered my hearts and started stitching around the edge. And I'm simply just doing kind of a little running stitch here. Nothing special about this at all. There is stitching detail around these dies, and I think it really helps with stitching them together. These are not made really to be stitched, but it works really well. I made sure to use a contrasting color of embroidery floss. So for this first one, a light pink, so that it really shows up and it's a design element and not just holding the 2 hearts together. Once we have this completely stitched, we're going to glue it to the front of our bear. I actually kind of saved that for after I put my bear together, stitched the front and backs together, so that I knew exactly where the arms would fall, because I don't want the bear's arms to cover up the die cut candy hearts words. But the stitching on the back of this does not have to be super clean and neat, because you're never going to see it. I glued this piece to my bear so that it's nice and secure. Again, just kind of did a little messy finish there on the back. I like to lay the arms on my bear then, and that is going to be so cute. Him holding on is going to be so cute. Now, the first one I did glue down in place. I didn't do that going forward. I waited until I had them stitched together. It gave me a little bit more peace of mind just in case. Let's go ahead and put our front and back of our bear together. We're also going to take one arm. I always start at one arm, and we are going to start stitching. I'm also taking a 12-inch piece of Lawn Trimmings Sweetheart twine. This is kind of a red, pink, and white striped twine, and this is going to be the hanger for our ornament. Not going to make this a tag or ornament or whatever you might call it here. You don't have to do this step, but it's important to have it because I like to stitch mine into the stitching process of the bear. Makes it really easy, and I don't have to worry about trying to thread it through later. I am holding the pieces together, and I am simply going up and down every other hole all the way around. As we get to the top of the bear's head, I always start at one of the arms because I start under just one layer to hide the knot. I take my Lawn Trimmings twine, fold it, in half, tuck it underneath, and then I stitch. It can be a little tricky. I have not knotted the ends or anything yet. We will save that for the very end of the project. But this gives me the hanger to make this an ornament or a decoration that hangs, and it also provides me somewhere that I can hang a little gift tag, which we will create here in a second. Again, up and down every other hole. It's a little bit messy. It does not look that great, but I promise when we get to the other side, and as you get to the other side of the bear, don't forget to add the other arm. Still go up and down every other, but as we get around completely to the other side, then we will just continue up and down, but it's going to be the up and down of all of the little open spots, which fills in the stitching all the way around the bear. And that gives a very beautiful closed finish. I stitch almost to where I started. I leave just a small hole for stuffing. So as we get around the second foot and we start up back the side that we started on, the left side of the bear, I leave a little space. I take some polyester fiber fill and I gently, because remember, it's not completely secure yet. We still have some little open spots we have to stitch all the way around again. I'm just going to kind of gently stuff my bear. You can make this as thick or, you know, thin as you want. You don't have to stuff it super, super tight and full. I would probably recommend not making them super puffy just because I think it's a little hard to stitch. And then I'm simply starting back, going every other, which is going to close it all in really nicely. The trickiest part, I think, of this is the little ends from the twine that we put at the top tends to want to get tangled with your embroidery floss. But once you get around the top of the bear's head, it's perfect and smooth sailing. But this is the best way I have found to add a hanger to my ornaments. I have done this many times. I have, with different shapes, I have saved it to the end and regretted it every time. So going ahead and doing that first is such a saver. When we get to the end, we have a little space. I like to go back through that one. Don't go through all the layers, only go through like about one layer. And then I just simply kind of thread my needle up and down, up and back through those to secure it, and then trim off the excess end. Take some hot glue and let's glue those arms down in place on the front of our bear. Look how cute! Isn't that fun? I love these Lawn Fawn candy hearts. I think they just add such a great personal touch. Let's go ahead and put our bow together. I've got some hot glue here. And we are going to add hot glue, push in one side, push in the other, and I'm so sorry. It looks like I got too close to myself and a lot of that is out of the camera. I'm Really sorry about that. I did not notice it as I was doing it. So it's just folding it in. Nothing special really about that. A little bit more glue. We're going to wrap that little center part around after we've glued it to the little tail ends, which add such a great finishing touch, and wrap that little tab around to the back. It makes it look like the bow is all one piece, and I'm simply squeezing that hot glue. I'm going to have some little strings I need to get rid of, but look how cute that little bow is. Perfect for popping on the head. So you can see you could put it off to one side, just on one of the bear's ears if you wanted to. I ended up putting it right in the center of each of mine because I think it fits there so cute. And I love how that finishes off the bear. Now this really could be finished. If you don't want to add a paper tag, go ahead and knot that and you're all done. I went ahead and put my other two bears together off camera to save some time. And here they are all finished. Aren't they so sweet? One of my favorite things to do is then to add some finishing detail with some sequins and seed beads. Definitely one of those finishing details that can be left off. Probably would have been easier to do this before I glued the hearts to the bears, but I have to say I wasn't completely committed to putting these on until I finished, and then I thought, yeah, I kind of want a little cluster of cute little flowers and seed beads on each of my hearts, and so I ended up doing that as a afterthought. But I'm going to group 3 flower sequins in the upper right corner of my heart, and I'm going to put a seed bead in the center. I like to use a beading needle and 2 strands of embroidery floss. You want to use a beading needle because otherwise you are not going to be able to get it through these seed beads. In fact, sometimes even the seed beads are not. This first one, always, every time I do a video, I swear the first bead I get doesn't go over my needle. Anyway, so I went ahead and got another one. You want to go up through your sequin, up through your seed bead, wrap it around your seed bead, and then back through the center of your sequin. It was a little tricky, as I mentioned, just because I have already glued this in place and I wanted to avoid the hot glue, but I ended up making it work. I'm also going to use 2 other shaped flower sequins. This first one I used is from Honeybee Stamps, and it's their vellum flower. That's that first one. And then I'm using Honeybee Stamps Pink Carnation and Glass Bell flowers. So one is very pink and one is a sparkly clear. The seed beads I'm using for all of my flowers are from Pretty Pink Posh in either rose pink or cotton candy. So definitely shades of pink. I'm keeping with my love of pink for Valentine's this season. And we're grouping those just kind of in a little cluster. I will say I did stitch them on, and I don't think they're going to go anywhere, but I would very much recommend. I lifted up my biggest flower and I just put a little touch of hot glue underneath, and that secures those nice and tight, and I don't have to worry that they might go anywhere. I thought about adding more, but I think that's just overkill. I think that one little grouping of flowers is plenty. We're going to do this on the other one. Now, something I realized after I had already started, you could come in from the letters, and that actually worked really well. You just want to make sure you tuck your knot underneath so you can't see it sticking out through any of the little die cut letters there in the felt. But again, we're going to start with our flower sequin. We will put on a seed bead, wrap it around the seed bead, go back through the center of the sequin. And this is the same steps you would use with any sequins. I'm using flower sequins here, but regular sequins, same step for this. You go through your sequin, through the seed bead, wrap the embroidery floss around the seed bead. You just kind of go around it, and then back through the hole in the center of the sequin. You could layer sequins and then add the seed bead. That seed bead just adds the center that holds your sequin in place. I did this for the remaining 2 ornaments, and then I have die cut some tags using the Mama Elephant Scallop Tags Trio heart-shaped tag. And I've die cut this from Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I'm going to stamp the Essentials by Ellen All Inside Bear on each of these tags. And I've masked off the scalloped edge on each, so it's just stamping part of the bear. I did this with my holiday tags as well. I love this bear. I think he's so super cute. And of course, he matches the felt bear perfectly. So it's a great way, if you're giving this as a gift, you can write on this as a gift tag. It can easily be snipped off, and the recipient is left with their beautiful felt ornament. I did this assembly line style as well, so I'm stamping all the bears. I'm going to grab some masking paper because I need to mask the bear's arms so I can stamp a heart inside of his arms. There are coordinating dies for this, but I chose to do mine flat. The felt ornament is the star of the show for this project, and so I kept the tags very simple. We're going to cut out both of the arms, and in fact, I only cut out the arms to use as masks here because we want the heart to stamp on the bear's body. So make sure you're only trimming out the arms as masks, and you could tuck anything into his arms. So you can already be thinking ahead to other seasons, other occasions, and what you can create as far as tags go for this little cutie. I stamped these with VersaFine Onyx Black ink because I did stamp all of my images on Bristol Smooth cardstock, meaning I will be taking Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers to color in my bears. Very quick and easy. My goal with everything here was quick and easy. I used tweezers because I didn't want to get my fingers into the ink to lift my masks and pop them in place on each bear. Tweezers can be your best friend here in crafting. They work so great. So look how cute that looks. It looks just like the bear we just made out of felt. I can't get over I love that they match. I think it's fantastic. I don't know if they're listening, but I would love more critters because I think these are very, very fun. Once we have all of our tags, let's just take off our little masks. We can color these little cuties up. I'm going to color these and then we will do the back side of the tag. I'm using a light gray and blender for my bears. I wanted them to just barely have color. I didn't want them to be dark or anything like that. So a little light gray blender, blend all of that out really well. A little pink haze for the insides of the ears and the cheeks so that they each have pink cheeks, which matches kind of our little pink heart cheeks on our felt bear ornaments. And then the colors of the hearts changed depending on which felt ornament I'm giving them to. So if it's the darker pink, the I Love You bear, I used peach pink and sugared almond pink Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. So that's that one. For the bear with the red heart, the Hugs heart, we'll be using carmine red and light red. I'm also, as I mentioned about the importance of faces when we were stitching the faces on the felt bears, I'm taking a black glaze pen and dotting the eyes on these stamped bears and coloring in the nose. You can really see the difference between the one I just did and the one I'm coloring now, how it looks a little muted and how dark and vibrant that is. When the black ink from the pen has completely dried, I'll take a white pen then and add a little highlight to the stamped nose. Here is that carmine red and light carmine to make the red heart. And we have just one more left, very quick. This was super quick coloring. One of the main reasons I chose to stamp these on the Bristol Smooth cardstock, which is what I like to use for Zig Clean Color Real Brush Marker coloring, and using those markers, very quick and easy. I wanted this to be super simple, not a ton of shading or anything like that. We're keeping the emphasis on our felt bear ornaments and not on the gift tag. I want the gift tag to be cute, but I just didn't want to spend tons of time on it. So again, pale gray and blender for the bear, pink haze for the cheeks, and then sugared almond pink, which was our lighter color for the other pink heart, but we're going to use it as the darker color, and then pink haze to make the light pink heart for the XOXO. So those are our 3 color combinations for our matching Bearwear gift tags. Now for the back of each tag, I am going to die cut this scalloped heart from smoke gray cardstock and stamp a sentiment from the Stamp Market, their Bear Hugs stamp set that says Hugs and Kisses. This is a project, probably one of my very favorite things to do, and I don't get to do it as much as I would like to, is mixing and matching product from multiple companies. We have got so many represented today. We have everything from Ellen Hudson to Lawn Fawn to the Stamp Market to Mama Elephant. So many fantastic companies represented in one project, and I just think that's so fun and so important because we all have lots of different stamps and things, and it's great to be able to mix and match them to really make unique projects. So I'm stamping this with a clear embossing ink, embossing with white embossing powder, and then we're going to glue these back to back and thread them on to the twine on the top of each of our felt bear ornaments. I always like the white embossing on a darker cardstock. I think it's really showy. It matches back to the white on the front of the tag really nice. And you wouldn't have to. You could just stamp on the back of the white tag because these zig markers are not going to bleed through, but this gives such a beautiful finished look. I think it really makes the tags have that professional finished look and appeal. So we're threading this on, and then we want to knot the ends of our tag. And I did not get this on here the right way because when I hold it up, the back is showing. So let's fix that real quick. And then I just want to get those as even as possible and then knot the ends. Trim that up, and that looks good. Look how cute, matches perfectly. So much fun. Just like the holiday tags, I will be linking that video at the end of this one. So if you missed it and you are interested and you want more ideas, maybe you want to get a head start on this year's holiday tags, you want to make these for everyone, I will link that at the end of this video for additional ideas. Plus, I'm going to also link to a video where I did other felt plush ornaments from Simon Says Stamp. They have a great little assortment of some felt plush ornaments, and they are really cute as well. Many of the critters could be used for other occasions. If you want to use those to make some Valentine's tags, Easter tags, whatever the occasion might be. I'm going to finish these up, and that is going to finish my felt Bear Hugs Valentine's tags. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this super fun gift tag project featuring all kinds of great stamps and dies. The supplies I used to create these felt bear tags are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Here are a couple more videos featuring felt ornaments that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.